Barış mezmam.
Barış mami tağa. Bakıyorum.
İnç kaç çıkan mezmam.
My grandmother doesn't use a cordless telephone. She believes that it's impossible to communicate with somebody without a wire. Even though she came to this country 15 years ago, most forms of technology are entirely foreign to her. She's never used an iPod, she's never played a PS2. Instead, she likes to pass her time with gardening. Today I want to see if I can connect with my grandmother, maybe even come to a mutual understanding of the use of technology, maybe bridge the generational gap that exists between us. I started off the discussion by defining what technology was. I then asked her to identify a couple of objects that she knew were forms of technology.
Barış mı kanalda teknoloji asasın çıkar?
Elektrikçi,
Ha, inç çıkar.
gayetine, artukuna, televizyonuna, telefonuna, zaftına,
Madem mez me banka, vralmen gort asmın.
Vacavile,
Etel kabet, etel narnen uni, Wi-Fi uni,
kompütere,
computer. Aya. Okay. Hima
As revealing as it was to discover that a vacuum cleaner was her opinion of a very important piece of technology, I was kind of surprised that she knew more than I'd given her credit for.
Ես ուզում քեզ արսամ ինչպես ես կարող կյանքդ ապրես առանց տեխնոլոջի։
operim ben.
Ապրել ես, բայց դու կարծում ես ես կարող եմ ապրեմ։
Nimi batarya erkekçi. Her zaman parvur.
I began to explain to her how a wireless telephone actually works. It was too difficult to explain it using English words for signal and wireless wavelength. I changed the translation to words such as wind and lightning bolt in terms that she can better understand.
So ինչպես է այն դասկոն ինչպես է ուղարկում այդ իրակայցը։
İstevetse uğraşkum.
Հա, էստեղից ասում են ինչ են ասում ստան։ This is antenna. Մատ ասա antenna.
Antana.
Antenna, good. Okay. Make love over make a lyric կյանքը կոմպյուտերի վրանի։
Չէի լավ։
Ինչպես լավ չի։
Դուսետա մանկա վայելա։ Մենակ այդ կոմպյուտերը փչիլնիկա։
Okay, ես իքամ եմ այդ խաղն բերի, ուզում դու խաղաս, տեսնես թե դու սիրում ես։ Ուզում ես խաղաս։ Քարտ չի։ Կոմպյուտեր։
Սատատ մեջ է։
Էդ չի։ Պատրաստ ես։
Պատրաստ եմ, բայց չեմ ամենին ես ասում։
Okay.
Prior to today, I think the closest my grandmother had ever come to playing a video game was just playing a hand of cards. I think she was in for quite a shock. I started off my grandmother by introducing her to the concept of a video game controller.
Okay, good. Հիմա այս սերով այս կոճակներն ես խփում։ Խփի, այս կոճակ խփի, այս կոճակ խփի։ Okay. Հիմա
The idea of being able to control something that's on a TV screen with something like a video game controller was something that was completely new to her.
դու տեսնես այս ովա, չէ՞։ Այդ դու ես։ Հիմա մա շարժի մեկ քիչ։ Yeah, it's come. Okay, that's okay.
Although it took a while for her to understand how to move the characters without dying, and even though she was doing horrible, it was odd because she was really enjoying herself. I could see it in her eyes. She was having the time of her life.
Okay, Hima. It's very big kocak khpi. Տեսնում ես? Ստեղ։
Կանանչա։
Չէ, ստեղ։ No. Այս մեկը։ Ուզում ես ստամ քեզի ու դու երբ ուզում ես խաղաս։
Չեմ ուզում։
Չես սիրում։
Չեմ խաղ։
She said she didn't have too much fun and that she would not want to play this again, but I think her smiles told me otherwise.
Alright, khpi. Oh. Good job. Okay.
We then began a discussion about digital cameras. It was kind of funny because up until this point she had thought a digital camera was only different from a regular camera in that it was smaller. When I asked her to take a picture of me, she was having great difficulty just even pointing the camera at me because she didn't really quite understand that the viewfinder was like a window or lens rather than a TV screen of its own.
Okay, nein, jetzt ist der. Du ins Essi, der bin sie ber. Der bin sie. Der emis kommt.
I noticed from the beginning that she was having a much harder time getting used to the camera rather than the Nintendo controller.
Okay, here we go. Okay, Hima. Eta yesen. Okay, Hima mat, yesu du yarat mekanım. Okay, nate? Asa panir. Okay. Okay, Hima, et me cover me ignore në karan, sta mecha. Havatum es? So,
eventually we got our picture and I showed her and tried to explain to her how the memory card worked to store all the files of pictures taken. We then saw the pictures that we had taken uploaded onto the big screen TV, and she was actually very impressed with how fast the technology had worked. However, I could tell overall this was much less interesting to her than the video game. Perhaps because she had been used to seeing pictures and photographs all her life, and it seemed like an extra hassle to use a digital camera and a TV and wires and cables rather than a good old-fashioned photograph.
Okay, esi asmen laptop.
Laptop.
Do you want to see movie film I'm sorry,
I wanted to show her the videos that I had made and put onto the internet. But before I could do that, I had to explain what exactly the internet was.
Okay, internet լրիվ աշխարհի մեջ Մատ internet մտածի մատ աշխարհը կոմպյուտերների մեջ։
It was difficult to put into Armenian words how exactly the internet worked. I had to use words out of their context to explain simple things, such as using the word house instead of website. Eventually, we came to talk about YouTube and how anybody in the world can upload a video onto YouTube, and then we began to watch one of my videos. It was surreal to her to see one of my videos online where anybody can see it. And it was also really surreal to me to see my own grandmother enjoying watching something that I had made using technology and that she was watching through technology. We talked about how just about anybody can make a video like this and put it online for the entire world to see, and how beneficial technology is for artists like myself.
Eta լավություն technology ամեն մեկը կարող գործացնի։ Ով ուզում է կարող գործացնի technology-ին։ Ես ու դու մա լավանք սարքենք դնենք YouTube-ի վրա։
Շատ։
Okay?
Okay.
Ուզում եմ դու էսի բռնես եւ ինձանից ֆիլմ վերցնես։ Որ մենք խոսում ենք։
Շատ կարող եմ վերցնել։
Կարող ես։ Okay, հիմա վերցնես պայի։ Okay?
Սենց։
Այո, ոչ ստենց սամեջ նայ որ ես եմ իրա մեջը։ Ես ում եմ։ Այստեղ բերսում։ Դեպի okay, հիմա ում եմ էսի։
Ում եմ խոս բզիստա գլոխը։
So, very we բրուսերանի։ Okay, հիմա
Watching my grandmother try and control and focus the camera so that it would point in my direction was like watching a toddler play with their toys. Even though she could not really quite get the hang of it, I could tell she was enjoying herself, just trying. I took this as an opportunity to see her last thoughts on the pieces of technology that we had talked about today.
Ավելի լավ աշխարհն է սովորը, կա տեխնոլոգի կամ դեր ժամանակ վրա չկար։
Լավ։
Հիմա այս տեխնոլոգին որ ամեն մենք գործածել են, քո սիրած որ մեկն է։
Որովհետեւ տելեֆոն լավն է։
Այդ Nintendo ջիսերն։
Չէ։
Հենց սիրում եմ վեզան։ Մի սուտացա սիրում եմ։
Հետո հումարա։ Հումար խաղացը լավ չի։
Okay, հիմա
How fascinating that my own grandmother, born and raised in Iran 86 years ago, was able to see in just 10 minutes worth of playing time the dangerous, addictive quality of video games. In just a few hours, I had introduced my grandmother to all these artifacts of human technology that in the past 15 years she had not really ever been exposed to. And I feel like this is going to change things between us, and we might have a little bit more of an understanding when it comes to technology. And I do feel that we did bridge that generational gap that I was talking about earlier. All in all, I think my grandmother was a great test subject, and I can definitely see myself showing her this YouTube video once it goes online. Thanks, Grandma. I love you.